Welcome back, everybody. Tang got owned by those DTs, man. Didn't get that stem out, but Prime's not out of this yet. Going into our third match.
Yeah, man. This is actually becoming one of my favorite players very fast. His name is MyuNgSiK. But first, we're going to take a look at Armani over here at Samsung Galaxy Con's base. He's a Zerg player. So far, 0-3. All of those games have been against Protoss. And unfortunately, once again, he is playing against a very smart Protoss.
Yep. He's only played this matchup. He's only lost. So, I mean, I have to say his games that we saw him play in the past, you know, he didn't give me the terror impression. You know, he gave me an impression of, this guy really is really good, actually. They don't field him unless they feel like it's the right moment, it's the right time. And I think this is one of those times where we're going to see him come out here. Stork saying they made a roster to win it today. Maybe Armani's looking really good on Catallena right now. But I'll let you go off on MyuNgSiK because you seem to have a lot to say.
No, I'm just beginning to love this guy more and more. He brings out so many cool, aggressive builds where he just, like, proxies 4 gates and a robotics facility or something and tries to all-in you. But he's also got some really smart play, really pulling apart his opponents. He's becoming, like, one of these Protoss players, which is actually the reason I play Protoss myself, is because you can really, like, mind game your opponent. You have all these, like, technical different units, and MyuNgSiK loves to use all of them in his arsenal.
He's also a big Phoenix user. I absolutely feel like we're going to see some Phoenixes in this game here. This PvZ that's going to take place on Catallena. All right, guys, it's time. Game number 3, Samsung versus Prime.
Down here in the bottom right, on Catallena, in the red, the Zerg player, it is Armani.
And up to the top right, in blue for Prime, it's MyuNgSiK, the former KT Rolster Protoss. Never give up. There's nothing is impossible, Prime. P.S. MyuNgSiK fighting.
Yeah. Just a reminder to all you guys out there, if you are coming down to the studio, you can get English headsets. Just randomly remembered that. Wanted to mention.
Yes.
And you can also make cool fan signs. You can talk to us. You can talk to the Korean cast as well.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the build here we see out of MyuNgSiK so far is going to be a pylon in the main. So, a forge, very unlikely, and probably just going to be a gateway-oriented expand here. Whereas, looks like we're going to see a hatch first coming down from Armani. We have to wait and see, though. He did actually do a 10 Overlord with an extractor trick. That's how he decided to do his opening here. So a little bit different from most Zergs.
Yeah. He's also got this very quick scout. Wants to find out where his opponent is very fast, and just to see if he's pulling off any weird kind of aggressive build while he takes that hatch first, just to be a bit safe. I like this.
Yeah, he sent his Overlord to the right location, so he's going to be able to see the Forge timing at that base. If it's at this wall, so he'll be able to pull drones right now if he needs to. He's going to come over here to see the Nexus, so all the scouting is done here. A great drone scout for safety. But the bigger question is, how is MyuNgSiK going to follow up this expand? You know, what sort of tech are we going to see from him, and how many Phoenixes is he going to make?
Well, he already throws in a gateway first, right after that Nexus, so the most greedy you can be as a Protoss here, to get down your Nexus first, and then go straight into getting your gateway out to get your tech out as fast as possible, not getting that Forge or any defense here. And Armani responds by putting down his third base.
Yep. Double hatch before pool. A great response to this. With no cannons possible, you're going to have that freedom to just drone, and drone. All that extra larva, and then of course eventually all of that extra saturation. Probe steals some money and gets out of there.
Beef.
He's actually going to come in here for a second pass to see if gas is taken or not. Confirms that it's not. And with the scout on the spawning pool timing, he knows the third base is up. He's probably just going to go confirm that it's at the bottom left rather than at the base that's closer to him. Doesn't even check, doesn't even need to.
Yeah. You were talking about Phoenixes a bit earlier on. This map, Catallena, kind of hard to spread your creep all the way over to that third base. And then again, the fourth base is very out on the map in the center there. So your Phoenixes can get to that fourth base very quickly, as well as the ground army can. But I think, Phoenixes wouldn't be a bad idea, especially because he is getting that third base up very quickly, and he can begin to put on that pressure.
Yeah. Well, Warp Gate research, obviously with this opening from MyuNgSiK, comes out pretty quick because you have, there's no forge involved in this scenario. You went right into the gateway, didn't need to have a cannon up for defense. So those aggressive 3-4 gateway pressure builds come out a little bit faster with this. And let's see exactly when, if at all, Armani decides to take speed, because that's going to be pretty useful in the defense to get something like that. And there's that Stargate.
Yep. MyuNgSiK, it's just his style. It's good for the map. We've talked about this time and time again as this game has begun, and we do see it here. Unfortunately, 2 Lings will get into the main base, and even with the Stalker here, he's not going to be able to deny that scout.
Nope.
He's going to see the Stargate.
Confirming his suspicions. And gas is going up now, back at home. We'll get Spore Crawlers. We'll probably be able to scout in just a second if this is some sort of weird, crazy Oracle build with his Overlord. Even still, probably Phoenix is going to come out and kill both Overlords, which will let him know what's going on anyways. And a Robotics comes up. It's a supply-blocked Phoenix, but it is a Phoenix.
And there goes beginning. 2 gateways at the front, just for added pressure. They'll be able to support those very soon. Do see a Roach Warren here, as well as 2 Spore Crawlers. 1 at the main, 1 at the natural.
Armani's just playing this very safely. And the Overlords, of course, will be killed by the Phoenixes, as mentioned before, but not before this Overlord actually got to see the gateways that you were talking about and sees the exact timing of the 3rd and 4th gas. So all information given now to Armani, because he knows that it's Phoenixes, he knows the gas timings. He couldn't ask for a better scout.
I'm already beginning to get a little bit jumpy in my seat watching this play out of MyuNgSiK. He has totally canceled making Phoenixes, because he knows that Armani's going to be like, okay, you're MyuNgSiK, you're going to make Phoenixes, great. Like, I'm going to really macro up here. I'm not going to make that many ground units, Let me get my 2 Evo chambers, try to get back, upgrade. We have 4 extra gates here. That's going to be 7 gates in total, guys. Or rather, 6 maybe. And we got a Warp Prism on the way. Already 3 sentries coming here. And we got, no units on the map.
It's a sentry. It's a sentry drop all in, He's going to just do a big warping in the main base. This relies on this not being scouted, which the Phoenix can actually guarantee. Oh, actually, I say that, but does he see it? Oh! Did he see that, though? Did he actually see it? That's the question. No, he did not, because if he did, his units would be right there. Okay, a few Lings come in. Maybe he did.
He's made a lot of Lings.
That force field. He needs to get that force field up. That's the most important part. He's trying to hide this, but it's been scouted. All right, needs to get units into this base immediately, because if force fields go up at that ramp, he cannot reinforce him as natural or his 3rd. Even still,
got 6 Roaches on the way. More Queens here as well.
He does not have his Mothership Core with him for a recall, by the way, if things turn sour. Few force fields being used here, but the spawning pool is going to go down, which means no more Lings for the defense. And he can just force field this off to kill these Lings really easily.
He actually has no room over here to warp in. He's got to move his Warp Prism, and now he begins to warp in just more Zealots, even with all these Roaches on the way. This is just so many units right into the main base. This is not something Armani was expecting. He did make a lot of units, but the spawning pool does go down. He's going to have to rely only on Roaches.
Yep. And, did he lose? He lost the Warp Prism. He's going to lose all these sentries. I actually don't think this was worth it at all. I actually think that, it was, I think he didn't know that he was scouted, so what he thought what he would do was just hide the units in the corner and actually just pull up a bunch of units and then suddenly surprise him and say, oh, you're dead, it's too late. I can kill all of your main base, and then I can just walk over there casually and force with anything that you're making right now panicked. But the fact that he was scouted made this terrible for him. He even targeted the spawning pool instead of fighting that army for a really long time, which I think cost him some really valuable time to actually do damage. And killing the spawning pool, if that's defended, doesn't really matter that much because he already has a lair, and he frankly doesn't need Lings during this period of time anymore because the Warp Prism died and all those units died as well. So this puts him into an awkward spot. He does have a nice follow-up push with Blink and with a ton of Immortals as well, ready to go.
But you know what? Armani has pretty much already identified this. He does get that Overseer in the main base, sees every building, and he's already got that Hydra Den finished. He's going to have a considerable number of Hydras coming out by the time this push hits. It's already walking across the map. There are a lot of gateways to support this.
Let's talk about what units Armani has, because he has only 11 roaches on the map right now, and the missing spawning pool actually starts to become more of a problem than I realized with a push like this coming, because he didn't have that time to actually hit all those production cycles to get the Lings out. The Hydralisks are not going to have range or speed, and he does have his bases just barely connected right now, so that's going to be helpful. This could actually still really work quite well for MyuNgSiK, and he's a master of making an all-in turn into another all-in and work.
He just never stops. Do have the probe with this army, starting to slowly make some pylons out on the map. Seems like he did come back to try to take out this annoying Overseer first, but is he even going to get it? No. Stays alive with 60 health.
Well, he made a tight wall, and that's part of the reason he had to bring the Warp Prism back too, so he could actually unload over that pylon, because he needs to keep that tight wall up, because if Lings counterattack while he's doing this attack, he's going to want that tight wall. He doesn't want to even have a single sentry at home if he can help it. This army is massive. It's huge. It's got 9 sentries and 4 Immortals, not to mention 17 Zealots on the map, Blink, and +1. So this is going to be a very, very scary attack. Tough to defend. Hydralisk range, though, did finish, and if he fights on creep, the speed upgrade won't really matter. So just needs to make sure he's in position to defend this. There is a Mothership Core for Time Warps, and if things go really badly, a recall. But if you have to recall with this build, you're basically throwing the game, or you're giving the game away. There's not much of a transition point after this, especially with a 4th base up now for Armani.
We've got sentries in the Warp Prism. He's trying to go into the main base and get a force field down. He actually traps a bunch of the Lings in the main. Could possibly go for attacking now, but he is going to wait. Force field won't stay up forever.
That's something he was going to consider for sure. He has to be careful he doesn't lose that Warp Prism, though, to Hydralisk if he's going to be doing moves like that, because if he loses that, then it's much tougher to reinforce and to save his Immortals, to pick those up and micro them back. Okay, he's going to go for it again. Coming around the right side, though. He's actually giving so much time to Armani, who's now maxed out. It's still really a strong push, to be totally frank with you guys. He's about to have +2. And MyuNgSiK, man, he's the king of all-ins.
He really is. He's trying to drop in 3 Zealots in the main, try to maybe draw some units into the main while he goes for an attack, but he's not really in position to put on the pressure while this is hitting in the main. He's waiting until some units go back to defend, and then is going to try to go. Armani has identified the fact that there's no 3rd base, and he knows this is entirely all-in. He's beginning to make some spine crawlers. And he just needs to defend this push. But again, like you've been saying, it's so many units.
This is absolutely nuts. This is actually insane. We're 15 minutes in the game, no 3rd base in sight from MyuNgSiK. He's like, Coach, can I max out on 2 bases? Is it possible? Coach's like, yeah, I think so. Okay, I'll do that. All right, here we go.
Definitely seems like the plan here.
Those
here we go.
In the middle, they need to get to the front, so the Stalkers are going to try to blink back here. And once those Zealots connect with the Lings, this fight's going to be much better here for MyuNgSiK. He's got so much firepower in these Stalkers and in these Immortals.
Really nice micro and control so far out of MyuNgSiK. He's able to put down some really nice force fields. Eventually does blink back, but again, the concave out of Armani with all of this Roach Hydra is just so strong.
Well, this is a tough fight to take here with this Protoss army against a comp that's basically designed to beat it, but I think his army is just so strong that he will beat this wave of Zerg units. The problem is the production. All the money that Armani has is making 20 roaches at a time here. Warp Prism does go down. The shields of these Protoss units are starting to get pretty low, but he's still trading quite efficiently with this army. This is a close fight. It's just the production, like I said before, that's the issue here. Can he actually fight these roaches one by one as they slowly stream up here?
He's trying desperately, but the economy just seems too good of Armani. He's slowly trying to reinforce. We do have a very big warp in from MyuNgSiK coming in, but that's just not enough Stalkers, man. We have like 20 roaches coming in. GG is called, and that is like the longest all-in I've ever seen, man. Armani finally wins his first Pro League match against a guy that was showing some really good promise, but goes down here in a very important match.
That drop really just didn't go MyuNgSiK's way. He lost too much, and I think he got a bit greedy, didn't think it was scouted. Had he still just run over and force field the ramp, I think he might have had a better shot at making that work. It's really hard to say. Would have to go back and look at the replay really closely. No, but he gave Armani so much time to have 4 base economy to make 20 roaches at a time, and he was fighting against a comp that was basically designed to beat his because he saw it coming a mile away. Hydras have so much range. They're fighting on creep. They could just move forward and constantly do damage over and over and over again. They're going to eventually wear those Immortals down, and then the Stalkers, they can blink back so many times, but once they get into the red, they eventually do die. And we saw that there. It was like suddenly we saw the supply of MyuNgSiK from 120 to 45 in about 20 seconds time. So Armani really happy with himself, and his first win.
Yep, looking pretty good. Not a bad player, I have to say. Playing very safe, responding well. He sees the Nexus first, takes his own third base. Just a very strong, standard Zerg play out of that guy. Good response to the all-in, and looking forward to seeing more games out of that guy as well.
The scout on the War Prism, so careful as well. He was really just playing a very reactionary game there. Well, this is actually my favorite match of this matchup today. Shine versus Creator. Love Shine's play. Love his aggression. I love his style. And Creator, we were talking about this before. Well, Gerard specifically was talking about this before. Talking about, the fact that he knows Creator was once one of his best players. He quit school to become a pro gamer, and he's slumping, but he's still sticking with the team. He's still trying really hard. He had that crazy thing that happened at the qualifiers recently where he got really emotional and got upset because he wasn't able to play. A little bit of drama there, but this guy is obviously still quite passionate about the game, and let's see how well he's practiced for his worst matchup here.
Yeah, if I can give you guys some stats just for a second, he is 2-10 against Zergs here at Pro League. His worst matchup by far, as you did mention. He is much better in the other matchups. Staying pretty even against Terran and positive 66% against Protoss. So this guy, he's probably practicing mainly for this matchup, and hitting a Zerg, I feel like it may not be good for Prime in this matchup just to rely on Creator here in the last match, but it's going to be good for his practice.